I don't think as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy.
Right.
I'm taking that back now officially.
Gotcha.
They have not.
Don't consume the comedy and move on with your life.
Yeah, and so, but
you don't get to be the arbiter of like what kind of comedy everyone else gets to hear.
Yes and no. So now, but I agree with
Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian had an interesting discussion about Jerry Seinfeld's recent comments about comedy and the left, where he backtracked from earlier statements claiming that the left had ruined comedy, and I definitely agree with what they had to say here. I wanted to share a portion of the discussion with you and chime in with some of my own thoughts at the end. So we'll get right into it.
Here's the thing that I got wrong is I didn't know. This was all press I was doing for Unfrosted. I did a bunch of it, and I enjoyed all of it. I did not know that people care what comedians say. That literally came as news to me. I don't think as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy.
Right.
I'm taking that back now officially.
Gotcha.
They have not.
But they have. Wait, what? Okay, so he is all of a sudden backtracking on a statement he made back in April where he said that the left ruined comedy. Now look, the left ruining comedy, hyperbolic. That is a little bit ridiculous. But do some factions of the left try to police comedy because they take great offense to funny comedy? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do, but I agree with Jerry. Like, I get his frustration. So, like, whenever they're busting Kamala Harris or some corporate Democrat on some extreme left thing that they did, and we're supposed to be to the left of them, and we are, but on economic issues, on things that make sense, they're like, aha, and you said this. I never agreed to any of that. I'm on the record. Whenever the Democrats go too far, I go, no, not buying it. I'm not in favor of that. I don't think we should pay for undocumented trans surgeries while they're in custody. I don't know why we're doing that. They're not American citizens, etc. And watch, like leftists will get super mad about me saying that.
No,
right?
They're melting down right now.
Right, and so I never agreed to any of the extreme stuff, but there was a moment when I got so frustrated with the police abuse. I originally was against defund the police very strongly, and they got tons of pushback on that.
I remember,
right?
Yep.
And for like a minute, I was like, God damn it, maybe we should defund the police. And then I regained my senses and went back to my original position. So I understand where Jerry's coming from. He got frustrated by the leftists who, you're right, do exist, who are like, you can't joke about that, and you can't joke about this, and do you know how insensitive it is to joke about that?
Yeah,
right?
The killjoys who could very easily just not go to a comedy show that they find offensive.
Yeah.
You know, it's called making decisions for yourself. And if you don't like the comedy, don't consume the comedy and move on with your life.
Yeah, and so, but
you don't get to be the arbiter of like what kind of comedy everyone else gets to hear.
Yes and no. So now, but I agree with Jerry that he did go too far, and I like that he's bringing it back, okay?
All right.
So, because what he's saying is, look, guys, we got to read the room. That's our job as comics. And Bill Burr's been saying that. A lot of top comics are saying that now. So the momentum has swung from stop crying about people's complaints and do goddamn comedy, okay?
Well, that I agree with. Like, I also can't stand comedians incessantly whining about people being offended by their jokes. I get that it's annoying. I get that it's frustrating when people are trying to police your comedy, but also let's not forget who has the power here.
Yeah, so let me give you an example of, in my opinion, where we went too far, where the comics went too far, right? But to distinguish between who's right and wrong. Anyway, so for a while, every comedy set was about, oh, they don't let me make this joke, but watch this, trans people, you suck, ha ha ha. I'm like, that's not a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'd watch there for half an hour, and guys who were enormously funny before, like Dave Chappelle, all of a sudden like doing nothing but like, I'm so bold because I say things that people hate. No, you have to actually include a joke, right? But I then saw the Ricky Gervais special, and I was like, look, I don't want him beating up on trans people again, like every other comic, and I heard that he did in his set, and I was super frustrated. Then I watched it and I was like, no, that was funny. And he wasn't beating up on them. He was making a joke and then saying, but guys, of course we don't believe that. It's called comedy, right? And he shouldn't have to explain that. You should be able to get it from the way that he makes the joke, and I did. But the times being what they were, I appreciate that he even clarified, right? So I thought Gervais did it exactly right. Chappelle, as much as I respected him in the past, I thought was so unfunny for so many specials.
They turned into lectures. Like,
yeah.
Some of those specials did turn into lectures, and it's like, I get that you are frustrated at the backlash you're getting, but it's getting to your head too much and it's hurting your comedy. Like, move on.
100%.
Move on.
So they became like some sort of like debate between leftists and comics, and nobody was having fun.
100%.
So when Burr and the others and now Jerry are saying, no, let's get back to comedy and not worry about what the critics are saying. We're comics. So just do your comedy, and if it's funny, people will love it. And do you have to change with the times sometimes? Of course. People used to use the N-word in comedy all the time because our culture changed, and you got to change with that. You can't be like a cranky old 98-year-old comic going, I remember when we used to be able to say hateful things and people laughed. Now they're not even laughing at it anymore. Yeah, they're not. So move, find something funny.
Okay, I remember, there's that NFL guy who's kind of cute and was married to Gisele Bündchen. What was his name?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, okay.
There's that NFL guy.
So they did a roast of him.
They did.
And it was great. Like there were a lot of offensive jokes and it was great. Sometimes you just want to laugh. You want to be able to laugh at yourself. You want to be able to just like take some of these issues that are heavy, serious issues and make light of them. Honestly, for a lot of people, the way that they cope with these heavy, difficult, terrible issues in the world is finding the humor in it or resorting to humor in order to cope with it. Like there is an incredibly important role for comedy in today's society. And I just take issue with any group, whether it's leftists, people on the right, I don't care, trying to be the arbiters of what is and is not acceptable comedy.
Yeah, but both sides have to adjust, right?
I agree, yes, I do. I agree with that. So if audiences aren't liking your comedy because you're going too far and you're not selling tickets to your shows, don't cry about it. That's when you have to adjust.
Yep.
But also, let's give comedians the space and the room to fail, okay? And let the market decide.
Yeah, and by the way, and if you don't, that's okay too, who cares? So like, if Dave Chappelle thinks, oh, I was funny, and Cenk thinks I wasn't, I hate him. Okay, that's fine, no problem. You'll find other people that find you funny. And am I going to ban him? No, I'm not going to ban him. It's a free country. He can say whatever the hell he wants. And if you say on the left, well, he shouldn't be able to make jokes that I don't like, that's not really how it works, right? And you make the best jokes you got, and then see if people like them. It's not that complicated.
So
I definitely agree with a lot of what Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian had to say, because while there are definitely some audiences that attempt to police comedy, people should be able to choose what to consume and not be told or pigeonholed into certain experiences deemed appropriate for them. When it comes to cancel culture, a lot of the comedians like Jerry Seinfeld himself or Dave Chappelle seem to be performing successfully, regardless of the controversy their acts might stir up. So I don't believe they're experiencing as much financial pushback from their art. And like Cenk Uygur said, audiences did change over time. The comedians should be able to read the room and adapt. Comedy is and has been extremely important for society, and I think it's fair for comedians to have thoughts about the people that consume their art, but I think it can also be true that some older comedians might be struggling to remain relevant and entertaining. But what do you think? Do you agree with Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian's takes on the situation? Do you believe Jerry Seinfeld should have walked his statements back about the leftist ruining comedy? Is there some truth in what he's saying? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to see the discussion. I'll see you in the next video, so take care until then.